All right, everybody. Welcome to the sixth and final part in the series of Are You Enabling Your Teens' Bad Behavior? I probably look a little scruffy here. I just got back from church camp and having about 55 kids to deal with for 4 days and 3 nights, or I don't know, maybe it was 4 nights and 3 days. I don't remember. But there was a lot going on, so I'm trying to catch up here. Picking up on this part 6, I reached out to a friend of mine, Susan Rose, another counselor, and asked her opinion on the series and how would be a good way to end it. And she gave me a suggestion, which was to try to end it on a positive note and talk about a little bit about the kids, the teenagers moving on to the next level in life, and how that affects adults, and how it changes the relationship a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I've already compiled the notes, and I'm going to be using the notes for this sixth and final series. So here we go. Hope you guys are ready for this. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I've enjoyed doing it. And we'll see if maybe there's more to come. I'm not sure. But we're going to start off here on part 6. Even teenagers that have not lived with me very long quickly find out that breaking trust means getting to stay home while others are out having fun, and losing most, if not all, of their special privileges. Breaking trust is a big deal in our household with me and my wife, and there are definite consequences involved when trust is broken. Depending on the level of distrust that they may have built up with you, will have a determination on maybe an established timeline and some specific goals that they may have to do and live up to in order to regain and reestablish that trust with you. I'll kind of leave that for you to work out, because it depends on the level of trust that's been broken. But even when they've earned it back, one of the hardest things to do as a parent is to let go and to trust your teenager, especially when they've given you good reasons not to. But one thing to remember is earning trust is a great way to transition them from an entitlement attitude into an earn it attitude. So many of our kids today are coming up with this entitlement attitude that they feel entitled to have certain things, or have certain things a certain way, or have certain privileges. And if you've been reading and listening to my previous series, 1 through 5, you've come to the conclusion that that's not the case. They're not entitled, and those are not just privileges that come without some degree of earning. So after a few times of going through this process that I'm going to explain to you, if they do go ahead and come to you and just straight up ask for something that they know is a special privilege, all you have to say is, you know better than that. You can tell them that's an earned privilege, and I need to know up front how you are going to earn it. Now, that's where you want to end up. Okay, that's where you want to get to. Actually, where you want to get to is that they don't come to you asking for a special privilege at all without knowing, or without an expectation that they're going to have to earn it. But some kids, even though they know that, they'll still try to push those boundaries and see what they can get away with. This is where I'm trying to go with this. Everybody likes to hear yes instead of no. And trust me, because of that, you can use the yes to improve the relationship and to stop the enabling. Most people are willing to have some skin in the game in order to hear that wonderful word, yes. That means that a yes has value, and as is the case with things of value, it must have a cost associated with it. Something that I've done with my teens is to always at least try to get to a yes when they ask for something. Now, teens can ask for some pretty crazy things. So sometimes a no is definitely warranted. It's definitely deserved as soon as they ask the question, if it's crazy enough. For instance, if your 14-year-old daughter asks to go on a co-ed overnight ski trip, and the person leading it is a single dad who is known to have heavy substance abuse or abuser type issues. Okay. If that's the case, I can't really ever recommend getting to a yes on that one, unless you were able to insert yourself into the equation. So other than crazy scenarios where you cannot insert yourself into the scenario, you should try to get to a yes. I like to use the find a way to say yes technique as often as I can. Oftentimes, we're just way too quick to come back with a really fast no, without ever even giving serious consideration to what the question was that the teenager was asking. When we do that, we're missing a huge opportunity for learning and for growing the trust relationship and for helping that teenager move on to the next stage in life. Sometimes when we give consideration to the question being asked and take a little time to think it through, there might be enough common ground discovered for us to get to a yes and ultimately get to a win-win situation. For instance, in the previous scenario, let's just say that question was asked of you by your 14-year-old daughter. What you might do is not immediately say no, even though that's going to be your gut instinct, but instead check and see, do you have any PTO? Do you have any personal time off available on your job? Do you have the ability to maybe go as a chaperone? Now, that may not sound like something that you want to do, but it may ultimately be something that you need to do. You may need to find out, what kind of kids is my daughter wanting to hang out with. And then if you do sign up as a chaperone, if your teen all of a sudden decides not to go because now you're the chaperone that's going on the trip, well, then the teen didn't need to go in the first place because they were going for the wrong reasons, obviously. If they decide to go ahead and go, even though you're going as a chaperone, kicking and screaming, well, that's still a win, obviously, or actually it's still a win, because ultimately they're getting to go and you're also getting to go and do a little parenting oversight while your teenager is going on the trip. Now, if the teen is glad that you're going, well, that's a definite win, because they're happy and you're happy, and you can chalk that up as, in the win category. Sometimes getting to a yes is going to be difficult, and it's going to require both of you to actually sit down and work out the details together. But if you do that in the end and you're able to arrive at a yes, excuse me, it's both a learning process and an exercise in cooperation that will ultimately set them up for success at home, at school, at work, and in their relationships, and even in scenarios beyond that. Because if they take the let's get to a yes approach, then number one, they're going to have a more positive attitude, and they're going to respect you more for at least trying. And so that's a double win if you can begin to do that. Now, I'm going to continue to talk about getting to a yes, because I think this is a big deal, especially with older teenagers. Nobody likes to hear no. Everybody likes to hear yes. And, for parents, let me just tell you something. A conditional yes is still a yes. It's still a yes, even if it's a yes with conditions. The reality is, if we work at it, we can usually get to a yes, even in really difficult situations. Now, I mean, there may have to be compromises, there may have to be adjustments, there may have to be conditions set. But ultimately, if you can get to a yes and the kid gets to do what they're asking to do, or a version of what they're asking to do, that's what they're going to remember. They're going to remember, my parents said, okay, I have to meet some conditions, but they said I could go, or they said I could do it. The key is not to say no until you've at least tried and tried hard to get to a yes. And that's a change for a lot of us. I realize that, but it's a positive change. And if you can do that, I think you're going to see some very, very positive results. For the teen that is about to transition to the next stage in life, you do not want them to make that transition with an entitlement attitude. They need to instead have an earn it attitude. Most of the time when my kids are asking to do something special, rather than just simply saying yes or simply saying no, I give them some goals to work toward in order to earn the privilege of what it is that they're asking for. If they just come right up and ask for something, even though they know that they're supposed to have earned the privilege to do whatever it is that they're wanting to do, you just come right back and say, you know better than that. You know not to come at me without some type of a way to earn this, because this is way above and beyond normal stuff, and you know that you're going to have some skin in the game in order to get this. So once you get them used to this process, they're going to know in advance how to get to a yes, and they're going to come to you with ideas and suggestions without you even have to come up with anything. So, and that's what'll happen after you do this for a while. I guarantee you the teenager will start working through these scenarios on their own. They'll already have ideas in their head, and they'll come up and say, hey mom, hey dad, I know what I'm about to ask you for is above and beyond, but I'm willing to do this, that, and the other thing in order to earn the privilege of doing that. And then when they begin to see that those things are truly privileges instead of, just entitlements, then they have the right perspective, and they're able to carry that perspective into other aspects of their life as they get older. And they're just going to be able to deal with the world on better terms, because we all know that when you deal with people with an entitlement attitude, you can you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, whether it's a police officer or whether it's a boss or whether it's a teacher or an instructor or whatever. That usually doesn't go over very well at all. And unfortunately, a lot of our kids are struggling with having an entitlement attitude. If you can establish your position and begin to have them see you as a mentor in their teen years, things are going to go a lot better for you. It's a great way to transition them from. It's a great way for you to transition from just being a decision maker and a permission giver to becoming a trusted mentor in their life. And believe me, this is a role that all parents should want to take on, because your role as a trusted mentor will not end after the teenager leaves the home. If you can establish your position as a trusted mentor in their life, they will forever call upon you, and they'll bounce major decisions off of you because they trust you and they know that you're going to give them the advice that they need, and not always just the advice that they want to hear. As they become more mature, they're going to put a bigger and bigger value on that. So believe me, you want them to start to see you as a trusted mentor, a person that gives good advice, and begin to see you less as the decision maker, permission giver. That's just going to work out better for both of you. And you're going to begin to have a better relationship with your teen when you can start operating in those roles. Now, one of the things that I want you to be wary of and steer clear of is avoid the easy yes. Okay, stay away from the easy yes. In fact, I would strongly suggest that you take just being good completely off the table as a way to earn a yes for special privileges. Okay, they need to be good regardless. Okay, that is not being good is not a way to earn a special privilege. I look at it like making your bed or brushing your teeth or taking out the trash or doing a regular chore. Those are just things that they need to do because it's part of being in the family, and it's just what they're supposed to do. You shouldn't be getting a reward for doing something that you are supposed to do. You don't need a carrot you shouldn't need a carrot dangled out in front of you in order to do things that you know that you're supposed to do. There's a good reason for making sure that you stick to your guns on this, okay? When you begin to reward teens for just simply doing what they should already be doing, well, then they quickly figure out that the reverse also applies, and they'll stop doing what they're supposed to be doing so that they can get rewarded when they go back to doing what they knew they should have been doing the entire time. And when you fall for this little trick, you're enabling the teen's bad behavior. Whether you know it or not, that's what's going on. You're becoming an enabler. And so keep in mind, when I say propose or purpose to always get to a yes, I'm referring to saying yes to special privileges and special requests, not just being good. Okay, they need to be good regardless. That's just part of growing up. They need to learn to be good and to stay out of trouble. I don't reward my kids for doing things that they absolutely know that they're supposed to do. I reward them for going above and beyond. And when they want some type of a special privilege, they have to earn it in order to get that reward. One way to do that, or one way to work toward that, is to use the phrase "no problem" as much as possible. You use it as a way of detaching yourself from the outcome, which is something we talked about in the earlier series. Detaching yourself from the outcome is critical. And when you say no problem, when they ask for something, it's a way of doing that. I'm going to show you how that works. But it's a way of detaching yourself from the outcome of their actions and also remaining positive. It works kind of like this. The permission is requested. Whatever that permission is, maybe it's going to a party or whatever, but the permission is requested, and you simply say, no problem. And then you follow that with, let's sit down and figure out a way for you to earn that. And then let the negotiation begin. You try to come up with a way to earn what it is that they're asking for that's appropriate for the amount of privilege requested. For instance, spending the night with a friend would certainly require more trust and a lot more earning than just asking for a couple of bucks to go down to Quick Trip. You see what I'm saying? So make sure that the privilege is kind of equal to the earnout, and try to keep that on balance as much as you can. Let's say, for instance, your teenage boy asks for $20 and to go to the skating rink and to stay out an hour past curfew this coming Friday night. Okay? If that were to be asked of me, my answer would be something like this. Well, sure, no problem. I could use some extra help cleaning the garage or maybe mowing the lawn. And if you were to pick up on one of those two and help me out with it, then I think, I could see my way to taking you to the skating rink and letting you stay out an hour past curfew. I think we could arrange that. So, that way, now they've got skin in the game, or they have a way to have skin in the game. I've basically given them two options. They can help me clean out the garage, or they can help me mow. But what'll happen, and you'll be shocked when it does, I promise you will, but it will probably happen. You're going to be surprised how many times that same teenager is going to pick one of those jobs and then help you knock it out real quick. And it's going to be not nearly as bad as they thought. And they may come back and say, Let's just go ahead and do the other one too. While we're at it, while we're already working, let's just go ahead and, if they pick to clean the garage and you get that done, they might just say, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and help you mow the lawn. Now, they may be doing that just because out of the goodness of their heart, but they may also be doing that because they want $30 instead of $20. Or, they want to stay out 2 hours past curfew. And you can handle that however you want. But the main point is that they understand that they're getting privileges by earning them. And they're not just willy-nilly asking for more without at least offering to do something extra. They're understanding the concept of, if I want something extra, I have to earn it. And that's where you want them to be. So in the situation of doing something like mowing, we have 70 acres, so there's a lot to mow. So in the situation we're mowing, both my boys and my girls love to mow, and I don't let them just mow by themselves until they've proven to me that they can operate the equipment safely. So my kids know that it's a real honor to get to do it on their own without dad overseeing it. So they'll call me up while I'm at work and they'll ask permission. Hey, dad, can I go mow by myself? And, it's a judgment call depending on the kid that's asking and how familiar they are with the equipment and how safe I think they can be. But if it's safe and if I say yes, well, guess what? I get the entire chore done completely by them. And then they get the bragging rights to go around. It's like a badge of honor. They get to go around and say, Dad, let me do it all by myself. And that's a big deal for them because they're learning, they're getting independent, and they're able to demonstrate to their siblings or to others that they're now trustworthy to do something that used to require a lot of oversight by dad. So when they've earned the right to move to this level, this really encourages independence. And it shows them how much you trust them. So it's a level that you want to try to get to. Yeah, it could be something as simple as loading the dishwasher or doing the laundry or taking care of a younger sibling while you're out, maybe walking to the store and back by themselves. That might be something that would fall into that same category. It's just anything that you feel like that they're ready to do, that instead of just giving them the permissions to do it, instead of that, you are using it strategically and timing the permission of that privilege so that it's an opportunity for them to learn something. And you didn't miss out on the opportunity to teach them something. Always look for ways to say yes, even if they have to do something hard to earn the yes. Because that's life. For them to hear yes in life, they're actually going to have to do some very hard things. And if we begin to teach them this process while they're still teenagers, it only gives them an edge over all of their over-entitled and over-privileged friends. So look for opportunities, as many opportunities as you can, to say yes. And especially when they ask for something big, that's a great opportunity to find a way to say yes. Initially, you may go, oh, no, you can't do that. That's crazy. You're not old enough, or you're not mature enough, or whatever. Well, maybe that's true, but maybe you can get to a yes with conditions that makes it safe, and that gives you an opportunity to be the hero and gives them an opportunity to earn your trust a little bit more. So that's where I'm going to leave part 6. Always look for opportunities to get to a yes. It will help them mature. It will help them become more independent. And it will set you up to be the trusted mentor instead of the permission giver as they transition to the next stage in life. That's going to be it for part 6. This is Pastor Dave. I hope you've enjoyed this. Be sure and give me some comments back. I would appreciate it. Thank you.